Welcome into the Dirty Pocket. We are live doing our first thing here on this thing called Twitch. What? Yeah, it's where all the cool kids are. So we are too, because we're the coolest. Welcome in to my partner in crime, the Scout, Daniel Kelly. How are we this week, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you doing, Stacy?
Doing great. Doing great, man. It turns out there's some things going on in the NFL. There's a few things shaking out the last 24, 48 hours, man.
Well, there is. I think the most exciting part about this going live on Twitch, Stacy, is that I give the millions of people globally who send me between 200 and 500 Facebook messages a day, and I get notifications. I give them ample opportunity to come on here live. I mean, I have an entire fan base in the UK. I mean, I've been banned at times from different sites in the UK. I have a collective fan base out there that, I could say the sky is blue and they would take it to the hills that it's red. No matter what I write, no matter what I say, they're all over me. So let's welcome in the UK. Let's welcome everybody in globally, locally. Let's welcome everybody in, because every time I put my pen to the paper, I mean, if you go on Google right now and you type in Jordan Davis, you'll see number one. You'll see my article on there calling Jordan Davis a 5th-round draft choice, where the rest of the world says he's a first-round dominant defensive tackle.
I'm sure that got no reaction out of anybody.
No, not at all. In fact, it's funny because somebody actually sent me a tweet today and they told me I should, why don't you, kind of sarcastically, grab the ears, why don't you go ahead and tag Jordan Davis in this, is what the guy said to me, right? And so I responded. I said,
They must not have followed you during the Micah Parsons.
Right. That was last
journey
year's
to the draft.
His dad followed me and everything. Right. But this year's Jordan Davis, right? So this fan writes, why don't you go ahead and tag Jordan Davis in this? I respond. I said, I actually did one better than tagging him. I said, I'm controlling the narrative on him right now. If you go on and take a look at and type in his name on Google, you'll see that it talks about my article right there with SI Jets. So there's a great fan base out there. I mean, you may need to get another server, Stacy, because this is like a match at a gas station. Putting me on live is like, I mean, I'm the guy that was at the Redskins-Vikings game at 15 years old, 58,000 Vikings fans. And I'm sitting there with war paint on, the Redskins Mark Rippon jersey, the Redskins Zubas, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I still say Redskins. In fact, I have a tattooed on my hand.
Ooh,
yeah,
controversial.
Absolutely. Well, let's get it stirred up here. But so I'm sitting behind the goalpost, right, with my grandmother at the game, right? It's 1992 or so, right, early 1991, 92, somewhere in that area. And this guy comes up to me and says, listen, I want to take your picture. Chipolo Miller just kicked the game-winning field goal for Washington. The Redskins won 15-13. The guy says, I want to take your picture. I said, why? He goes, because I want to put it on my dartboard. That's the kind of fan base that I have, Stacy. That's the kind of fan base I have. So I'm the guy that can walk into any stadium and get entire sections riled up. So let's get this thing. Let's put the ball in the proverbial tee and let's go.
Okay, well, there we go. For those of us who are just tuning into the Dirty Pocket, football's messy and we talk about it. We don't throw a lot of 15-yard flag or penalty flags. And this is your opportunity to see the Scout and myself in real time. Be nice despite how you might feel. There's a few rules, follow those. Nonetheless, we like our football uncensored on the Dirty Pocket. So this is your opportunity to see us, give us some thoughts as we move forward and navigate the Dirty Pocket. So on that theme,
actually, one thing,
interjecting.
One interjection here. In the words of Jarvis Landry, my favorite receiver from the Cleveland Browns on Hard Knocks, when he said, "Put your tongue back in your mouth and bring it." That's my phrase. Put your tongue back in your mouth and bring it. Let's get going on this thing. And let your fingers do the walking and let's go.
Back it up. We're here for it. Okay, so as is the tradition, if you're new to us here on Twitch, and we'll soon be live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, we like to talk about our drinks. We are some really wild guys. The Scout, if you did not know, is located in the Florida Keys. I am located in the Pacific Northwest. We got a 3-hour time difference. He's going with the widely respected RC Cola.
I haven't seen one of these things in a store for
Very
30
deep south of you.
For 30 years. And I was at the convenience store before we went on tonight on our drive home, my wife Samantha and I, she goes, I don't think we have anything at home to drink for the show tonight. I looked in the freezer in the where the cold drinks are. And I said, I looked at this, I said, I thought of you, Stacy. I'm like, I've got to go with the RC Cola. I mean, think about it. I mean, RC Cola, the official soft drink of the Dirty Pockets.
Oh, okay. Call us, sponsor us. Well, I
feel like I'm on a Truman Show or something.
In my endless excitement, I'm still sporting the Stevia, sugar-free. When you've got 6-pack abs, you want to keep them. I wouldn't know about that, but I like talking about it. So that is our tradition. Both of us sober as could be. Keep that in mind as you watch us go bonkers the next 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So Scout, as a guy who is drowning in NFL draft coverage now, as we know you are for Sports Illustrated with both the Jets and the Lions and your many other projects, what do you think about the last 24, 48 hours in the NFL quarterbacking circles?
Yeah, it's wild. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack. I'll let you take the lead and unpack it for us, and I'll respond if you want to.
Rumor has it you have some takes.
Well, that's the rumor. That's a rumor. I mean, I'm the guy that put out a tweet about 3 weeks ago about Trey Lance that commanded over 600,000 impressions. So yeah, I mean,
and gee, what was that tweet alluding to?
I guess you have to go look at Daniel Kelly book.
Okay, fair enough. Trey Lance, if you're new to the show, don't bring up Trey Lance. Moving right along.
That's like swearing on the air to say that.
I'm going to start with your second favorite quarterback of all time, because as it turns out, this gentleman who I happen to think is one of the best quarterbacks of all time that I've ever watched play, you are in disagreement, mostly, not on the skill stuff, but on the other stuff, the leadership stuff. Mr. Aaron Rodgers returns to the Green Bay Packers. He will finish as a Green Bay Packer, probably the greatest in terms of numbers, as he will wipe out everything at that point if he hasn't already. He is now the 200 rumored, allegedly, he is sitting at $200 million with $153 million of it guaranteed at 36 years old. Scout Kelly, what say you as first ballot Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers returns to the Packers? Listen close, Packer Nation.
This could go down as one of the greatest mistakes in the history of the Green Bay Packers organization. Absolutely. This is an awful decision. Okay. If you're a Green Bay Packers fan right now, or if you're sitting here, you're watching on Twitch, turn up the volume, because this is a very bad decision by the Packers. Okay. Let me go on record and say this, because I can't just shoot from the hip like a lot of these guys in the media, okay? Because I'm building a GM resume. I can't afford to go out there and just shoot from the hip and just have hot takes and clicks and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so when I say things, okay, I have a general manager's chair waiting for me on this stuff. Okay, that's the kind of stuff. So I don't take this stuff lightly. So let me just say something kind of subtly, okay? Aaron Rodgers will never win another Super Bowl, okay? Never. Soundbite it, archive it. It will age like the finest of wines, okay? This is a big mistake by the Green Bay Packers. You're talking about somebody needs to call 911 in Green Bay. Some money's been stolen. There's a robbery in progress. All units, please respond. It's something like, I could just see we're live. You're just like cringing. Like, what is he
cheese
going
heads
to say?
Are melting.
What is he going to say? I mean, the cheese is melting in the winter with these comments I'm making right up in Green Bay. The cheese heads are melting. But here's the situation, okay? This is a big mistake. I don't know where people think that this guy is the answer quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, okay? Because you're talking about a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers that back-to-back seasons has not been good enough to win at Lambeau Field against warmer weather teams, against Tampa Bay, which if you would have told Vince Lombardi that Tampa Bay was coming into his backyard and beating the Green Bay Packers, he would have done just that. He would have laughed. Okay. And then with the 49ers. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who can't even win in his backyard against warmer weather teams. And now you're going to put $200 million on him after he's come out and really self-proclaimed himself. Okay. He set himself up as the most selfish player in the National Football League. Okay. He's a guy that's just all about himself. He proudly holds up that MVP award because all he cares about is himself. And while the other guys like your team, the Rams, are winning Super Bowls because they actually have a quarterback that cares more about the team than themselves. Okay. So now you're going to put all this money into Aaron Rodgers when I don't even think the general manager there, Brian Gutekunst, even likes this guy. I don't know what he has on this organization, but he has held them ransom. He has held them hostage in Green Bay. Okay. And why they give him this much money when they have Jordan Love sitting there. I wrote an article for Draft Diamonds last year or this last summer that talked about how I feel Jordan Love could lead the Green Bay Packers to the Super Bowl. I don't know why they've done this.
He's like a useless draft pick at this point.
I don't understand. I don't understand this at all.
Him? Yeah,
I don't understand this at all. I really don't. I mean, this is a quarterback who did everything in his power to sabotage the organization this last offseason. He discouraged free agents. You can look this stuff up. I'm not making it up. He discouraged free agents from signing in Green Bay. He made it all about himself. He came on his opening press conference after he decided to, leave the waterfalls and all that, the pictures of him, and come back to Green Bay and make that infomercial all by himself. And he whipped out that laundry list of has-beens that he felt should have gotten a second chance with the Packers. It's just ridiculous. I mean, this guy, it's almost like reality TV in Green Bay. It's a drama that's never going to win.
Well, you're not alone in feeling this way. I mean, let's be honest. There's most of the people, mainstream media, feel it. We got guys who aren't even, voting for him for MVP. The one guy who voted for Cooper Kupp did it out of spite to Aaron Rodgers. So stupid. But look, your points are spot on. If Aaron Rodgers, who at his age, after all the Super Bowls, he's had 3 straight 13-3 seasons. If he doesn't win a Super Bowl, thank you, RC Cola. You're doing free sponsorship here. If he doesn't win a Super Bowl, this looks like a massive disaster. You bring up Jordan Love. What was the point? Trade the kid at this point. Get some draft capital back. You just committed to Rodgers for another 4 years, allegedly. You tag Davante Adams, so clearly they're going to have to figure out a way to get the salary cap in line with what many feel, and I'm going to say Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver in football, and Davante Adams, arguably. I love Davante Adams, don't get me wrong.
Me too.
And on top of that, what will be the excuse for, again, someone that I think is one of the best in Aaron Rodgers at this point in the NFC? What's left in the NFC at the quarterback position? Tom Brady has retired. Russell Wilson has left the building for the AFC. If you're looking at the NFC least, who are you looking at? Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones. We're going to talk about Carson Wentz in a minute. Aaron Rodgers, especially in his division, but in the entire NFC, in my opinion, is looking at one guy to be afraid of, and that's the guy that just won the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford. All the other guys are gone. Drew Brees is gone. Tom Brady's gone. So, to your point, a whole lot of money. Better deliver. Better deliver.
Yeah, the name of the game in this league is winning Super Bowls, not MVP awards. And this is what it all comes down to. It's what you're going to be remembered for. And I truly think, I hope they engrave this in cement that Aaron Rodgers is not going to win another Super Bowl. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. And I feel bad for the rest of the players of the Packers because it really sabotages their careers and their chances to win a Super Bowl because this guy doesn't really care about anybody but himself. And I think, and the reason why I'm so hard on Aaron Rodgers is because I think, let me unpack this for just a second. I think that the quarterback position is ultra important. Some would say the most important position on the team. I can see that. Okay. And you at that position, you're the leader. Okay. Your job is to draw everyone together. That's a very selfless leadership is a very selfless position to draw everybody together, encourage everybody, bring out the best in everybody. And I just don't see that with him at all. So, yeah, I mean, I've been an Aaron Rodgers fan for years as far as what he can do, how he can throw the ball. You know, I've seen some games where he looks like a surgeon. He fits it in these really tight windows. All that's great. I don't have any problem with him throwing the football or the actual skill set to play the position. But the game of football is won or lost from the neck up, and he simply doesn't have it. He doesn't have it from the neck up, and he's not that leader that's going to take your team to the Super Bowl. You know, you give me Jimmy G any day of the week and twice on Sundays over Aaron Rodgers. I sent out a tweet saying that this week. Give me Jimmy G over Kirk Cousins. Give me Jimmy G over Kyler Murray. Give me Jimmy G over Russell Wilson. You know, because the thing that Jimmy G has is he has this cool, calm, collective ability to draw everybody together. You're talking about a quarterback that's almost gone to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. Everybody looks at Jimmy G like he's got 4 heads when you bring up his name. But this is one of the most successful quarterbacks in the league over the last 3 years in the NFL. 33-14. Don't have anyone feeding me the information. This is off the top of my head. 33-14 as a starter. This guy was drafted by Bill Belichick, who I worked with the New York Jets. And he's got a good football resume, but he's got that ability, that intangible ability to draw everyone together where Aaron Rodgers doesn't have it. I mean, I don't know why you'd spend this kind of money on a guy like this when he's not going to win, hasn't won. He's just proven over the last 2 years that he can't win, even at home. Even with the best record in football in the NFC, he cannot even win at home against warmer weather teams. It's embarrassing that the Buccaneers and 49ers went in there and beat Green Bay in their own backyard. That would make Vince Lombardi roll over in his grave. That is an embarrassment.
You can't argue any of those things. I mean, from the intangibles of some other quarterbacks to the fact that he has put up some big-time impressive numbers, does some big-time impressive physical things. But my God, he's lost twice right there after having home field advantage. He has, really, in my opinion, arguably physically the most talented quarterback of the last 10, 12 years. Yep, I did say that. But he hasn't won a Super Bowl. He's got 1 Super Bowl in his long distant past, not taking that away from him. So, look, this is big, man. This is probably the headliner, in my opinion, if you're part of the NFC, you're a Packer fan, or looking at Aaron Rodgers' legacy. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But if he don't get another Super Bowl, folks, especially after drafting Jordan Love and then holding them hostage a little bit in the offseason, here we go. It is going to be one hell of an interesting season in Green Bay. So let's shift gears because Aaron, I know is a personal favorite, and I could keep you there for an hour, but I won't. Russell Wilson. He has left the building in Seattle. The Broncos, in just the last 24 hours, they get Russell Wilson and a 2022 4th-round pick. The Seahawks, in return, get Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, a 2022 first-rounder, a 2023 first-rounder, a 2022 second-rounder, a 2022 fifth-rounder, and a 2023 second-rounder for Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson the difference in Denver? They had the great defense. They've got a wide receiver room anyone would envy. They got a stud running back in Javonte Williams. Is Russ put them over the top in the AFC next to Herbert, Mahomes, and Derek Carr? Let's just start with his division.
Well, let's put it this way. You had started, Stacey, by saying that Russell Wilson's left the building. I was looking down, as you probably could tell there for a moment, because I have to refer to my phone every now and again because I don't have all the stats.
We don't care. I almost didn't wear a shirt tonight, so no one cares. I mean,
well, right. I mean, I'm not like a talking, $90 million puppet like some guys. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay,
pocket's dirty, man.
Not mentioning names. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But there's only one guy that's gotten that kind of money recently on the media. So, but here's the thing, okay? You say Russell Wilson's left the building. According to what I'm looking on my phone right now, he really left the building after the 2013 season.
Oh, man. Low
The
blow.
last time they won the Super Bowl was in 2013. What has happened since?
Wait, was it that long ago?
It
Oh my
has
God.
been. Yeah, it's been almost 10 years. Okay. What's happened since? Well, let's take a look at it. According to my calculations, it's been a steady downhill slide. Because here's what's happened, okay? This was about the time in 2013 he went through his divorce and all that. I don't feel like he was ever the same person after that personally. Okay, I saw him differently just from that standpoint. But here's what happened. 2014 lost the Super Bowl, 2015 and 16 lost in the divisional round, and 3 of the last 4 years lost the wild card. Okay, you kind of see like he's going down a stairwell each and every year. Okay. He's been a different player. Okay. When I first saw the Russell Wilson trade come across my phone yesterday and the little ESPN chime music come across my phone, right? Okay. That we are all very familiar with. Okay. When I first saw that trade, the first thing that went through my mind was Herschel Walker trade 2.0. Okay. Back in the day when the Dallas Cowboys and Minnesota Vikings did business on a handshake, and supposedly, that was all those draft picks and players, and Herschel Walker was going to be this guy. I used to live in Minnesota. I remember all this hoopla surrounding Herschel Walker, the bobsled team, the whole thing. Okay,
he's great, Georgia Bulldog, baby.
Right. So he came from Dallas to Minnesota. Minnesota gave up the farm, basically handed Dallas those Super Bowl trophies by lining them up with all these draft picks that they got all their guys from with Jimmy Johnson and so forth. So I think it's a terrible trade for the Denver Broncos. I think they gave up way too much. I think Russell Wilson's 33? They gave up way too much. This is not a guy that, I mean, you look at what he's done with his team. Again, we talk about leadership with the quarterback position. This guy is steadily, statistically, this is not my opinion, as far as the record of the team that he led, they have gone more and more downhill steadily over time. You and I talked about earlier this year on the show, we both felt like he was in the twilight of his career probably. And we remember that conversation. We didn't know, what was going to happen with him going forward. And was this the end of Russell Wilson? Now they trade him. It just shocks me. And not much shocks me, but it shocks me that George Patton, the general manager of the Denver Broncos, who comes from the Minnesota Vikings, who have a scouting department that's basically, they're a build by the draft type of team, the Vikings are. And so for the Broncos to make this kind of desperation move may have more to do with the sale of the Denver Broncos than anything else. Maybe they're trying to learn somebody, they said they learn, kind of learn a buyer. I don't know what exactly it is, but it doesn't feel right. They gave up way too much. You and I were never that high in the Broncos receivers to begin with last year in the dirty pocket when we talked about a couple of those guys. And I just,
they were injured. Jerry Jeudy.
I don't know. I just think it's a big mistake. Now, Seattle, on the other hand, they're sitting pretty. They get all those picks. Now,
as a Rams fan, I think they're sitting real pretty. I'm enjoying this.
Real pretty, and trust me, John Schneider is one of the best general managers in the NFL. Pete Carroll's been around the block more times than most people even got on a bicycle. They're going to figure out how to put together a pretty good team pretty quickly with the type of picks they have and what they can do. Because one thing we've seen in the NFL is it does not take, people say, oh, we're in a rebuild. Listen, that talk doesn't fly in the dirty pocket. Okay. There's no such thing as a rebuild in our dictionary. Okay. It's you go in there and go. And
the Bengals are in the Super Bowl year after being the worst team in football.
Exactly. And of course, the Buccaneers with Bruce Arians did the exact same thing prior to that, after coming off a couple losing seasons. So this is the Seahawks are going to figure this out pretty quickly. And I think that they're going to be the big BIG caps winner in the Russell Wilson trade. I think they unloaded him at the twilight of his career. He'll never do anything in Denver as far as I'm concerned.
So 2 things on this. Okay. One, what were the Broncos supposed to do anymore in the AFC West? You got Justin Herbert, you got Pat Mahomes, you got Derek Carr, who played really good football and kept that team out of just a tragic tailspin this last year. I mean, if they don't do something at quarterback with that defense, they're doomed. I don't know if Russell Wilson's the answer. I've been a big Russell Wilson fan only from the standpoint is to me, he's got a little Fran Tarkenton in him. He's been carrying the Seahawks the last few. This is where we disagree. I think the Seahawks drafting has been miserable the last 4 to 5 years. And I do mean bad. Like that offensive line was duct taped together for that guy. I think Aaron Donald feasted on Russell Wilson. There's no quarterback he sacked more in the NFC West. So there's that. The other side of the coin is the NFC West, man. It went from the most dominant division in football to I mean, what is going on there? Jimmy G may be out in San Francisco, usher in the Trey Lance. Oh my God, I said the name. The Trey Lance era.
Don't swear.
Russell Wilson goes to the AFC. Kyler Murray looks like a disgruntled, spoiled guy, according to everyone close to him, who thinks he deserves more than what he's ever earned. And you're down to, did I mention the world champion Los Angeles Rams with Matt Stafford, who is suddenly the most dominant quarterback in that division. I mean, the NFC West just got gutted with Russell Wilson leaving. And then, and of course, they lost Bobby Wagner. They're releasing Bobby Wagner too. So,
right. Well, I mean, it's 7-10 this last year. The pumpkin in Seattle got gutted a long time before this. So
I got a question for you. What should we start an official watch? Like we often do, you and I, we did Aaron Rodgers watch. We've done some other things. Should we start the DK Metcalf meltdown watch? Because I think old DK is going to go big time sideways. And I mean quick. He was not doing well with Russell Wilson. This could get ugly up there in Seattle. He might be out of there next. I think New England's probably on the phone. The Patriots are like, hey, is DK available? How about Tyler Lockett?
Yeah, absolutely. Oof. Yeah, it's. I'm writing an article on Monday for SI Jets about the possibility of a trade proposal with DK going to the Jets. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's
teaser there.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But yeah, to your point, I think that they're going to have to, move those guys as well. Both him and Lockett too. And there's a lot of receivers. I mean, this is such a deep draft for receivers that, nobody's going to have a hard time finding receivers for the first 3 rounds.
God, I love it, man. Okay, so we'll move off of Aaron and Russ and continue to stay way far away from Trey Lance in San Francisco, but eventually we're going to get to him before this episode ends. Let's talk about what went down just a few hours ago, because this one's near and dear to your heart. No secret, the Scout is a Washington football fan, has been for life, continues to call them the Redskins, where we won't get into all that. But now the Commanders, weirdest name ever. Carson Wentz. You've got a scrapper in Taylor Heineke. He's playing out over his skis with a defense that just laid a turd this last year. But Ron Rivera decides that Carson Wentz is the answer to putting the Washington Commanders back into the playoffs. Okay, with the heart, with the head. Scout Kelly, what say you?
Okay, let's put it like this, okay? Turn up your volume here, okay?
Boy.
Let's put it like this.
Boy,
I sent out a tweet today that talked about this. Let me find it here so I can read it word for word to do it justice for us with Wentz going to Washington today. And this had been rumored for a while. People are like, well, maybe it'll be, Wentz will be going there instead. And I'm like, oh, okay, ready?
I am ready.
Okay, there's a picture of Deshaun Watson on the tweet. Okay, I mean, just at Daniel Kelly book, you'll see it. Okay, quote: hearing there was a possibility of getting Deshaun Watson, and then finding out that Washington instead traded for Carson Wentz is like being hungry late at night and finding out Taco Bell just closed.
Oh, God. I missed that tweet. You've got to be kidding me.
That's how it felt.
You got to settle for taco time, or is that Carson Wentz?
I think you got to go to the gas station and see if you can find a couple hot dogs left over from the afternoon
in the
lunch
microwave. He's throwing the baked burrito in the microwave.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe get one of
Is
those.
that where you got your RC Cola? Just spill it, man.
Yeah, I know. That's
It's what?
RC Cola. The taste of the dirty pocket.
You went all Carson Wentz on us today.
It's
whoa.
I mean, that was such a deflator that
Yeah.
you know, that Carson Wentz, after months of talk about the possibility of Deshaun Watson, it was just really strange. It makes me wonder, okay, Stacey, it makes me wonder, first of all, we'll get into the Wentz situation, but when I first heard this, the first thing that went through my mind was, is the Deshaun Watson thing either going to take longer or go sideways? Because if you notice, there was a domino effect, right? It started with Aaron Rodgers resigning in Green Bay, right? And then immediately Russell Wilson went to Denver. And then immediately after that, Carson Wentz goes to Washington. And the dominoes all started falling without any quote unquote news coming out about Watson. You know, so it makes me wonder if the league knows something about Watson that they're not saying at this point.
Yeah,
you know, it makes me wonder what's going on there. But
I
we
think
can
he's
hold,
done, dude.
But we can hold that. We can hold that for a different show.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and there's talk now. I saw a tweet tonight by a well-recognized person. I don't recall who wrote it, but the tweet said something along the lines of the, you know, does this open the door for Deshaun Watson to go to the Seahawks now? And, you know, I don't know about that. But getting back to the Carson Wentz for a minute, I mean, Carson Wentz, okay, in 2019, after I interviewed in Washington with team president Bruce Allen, you know, I did advanced scouting reports on all Washington's upcoming, the Redskins at that point, on their upcoming games for the rest of the season. Okay. And when I looked at Philadelphia, I liked Carson Wentz at that point. I gave him a B for a grade, not great, but good enough. Had the toughness, the arm, etc. You know, so I thought, okay. And so then he gets traded to Indianapolis. He doesn't stick there. And now he goes to Washington. I don't see it because, you know, I saw another tweet, interestingly enough, today that I looked at, and their numbers, Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke's numbers were almost identical last year from what I saw. You know, I think it's a panic move. You know, I'm a huge Taylor Heineke fan. I still think that Taylor Heineke is going to be the guy when the dust settles in Washington. They tried to do the same thing last year with the Ryan Fitzinjured when they brought him in. And they brought him in last year, and he got paid like millions of dollars to play like one half of football for the whole season in the opening weekend. He was done for the rest of the year, and now he's going to retire. He's been retired since last September, as far as in my book. But you know, and now, I mean, there's something about Heineke. This guy has, like as you said, Stacey, has fought his heart out and competed for this team with more heart and passion than anybody else has on that roster. And continuously they show him disrespect. Ever since that Tampa Bay game when he came in there heroically, dove for the pylon, you know, the next day on Twitter, the whole Twitter world, you know, lit up like the 4th of July. Who's it going to be? Aaron Rodgers? You know, is it going to be, you know, Deshaun Watson? Is it going to be the man on the moon? Anybody but Taylor Heineke on social media. He came out, he fought his heart out again this year. He made some rather good plays at times, and he got fired up. He was passionate. He was a good leader of the team. And as you touched on, Stacey, and I put out in a tweet, the least of the problems in Washington were the quarterback position. That defense was pitiful. They went from the 4th ranked defense in 2020 down to, I believe, the 25th ranked defenses last year. Chase Young was an absolute embarrassment. I mean, just an absolute embarrassment. I mean, if you look up the word embarrassment in the Webster's dictionary, you'll see that beautiful hairdo that he takes more time on than he does getting to the quarterback. Okay. You'll see that nice hairdo.
Oh, no.
And awful. I mean, I've been watching the Washington play for 40 years. I have never seen a worse defensive end effort in my life than what Chase Young gave last year. It was awful. It was terrible. It was embarrassing. I mean, and I've seen all the big, highly touted, you know, Sterling Palmers of the world and Kennard Langs and all these people come through there, and it was just embarrassing. It really was. And so I think that's where the onus should have been placed, was on that defense, with Jack Del Rio and how Ron Rivera was with that 85 Bears team under Buddy Wright and Mike Ditka, and he actually feels good about that defense he fielded last year is beyond me. But I mean, it's just soft play. And it just, then of course, what they do, they turn around and they play, they make Taylor Heineke the pinata and they play pin the tail on the donkey. And basically that happens to be Heineke. And they say, well, the answer is getting an upgraded quarterback. Carson Wentz is not an upgrade. It's not an upgrade. Basically, what that's going to boil down to is a quarterback controversy. You're going to have another quarterback controversy in Washington. Something undoubtedly will happen to Wentz. Heineke will come back in there. He'll win 2-3 games in a row, and you're going to have a quarterback controversy on your hands in Washington. That's all that's going to boil down to. It's just I don't see that
turmoil.
It's just that's not the answer.
Wentz was the answer to all their turmoil and the quarterback position. They got they swapped second round picks. The Colts got basically a third round pick and possibly another one a year from now, depending on how much Wentz plays, which is kind of interesting that's even a clause that you would trade for a guy and not assume that he was the starter outside of injury, because God knows his injuries have derailed his career in a lot of ways. Well, I'm the weirdest trade so far. Just weird.
Yeah, it's just strange. I mean, that fan base, okay, as it is right now in games in Washington can barely even hear their own snap count in their own stadium. I mean, it's embarrassing, okay? There's always more fans of the opposing team in that stadium than there is Washington fans, okay? And the fan base has been more and more disgruntled over the last 2-3 years. And, of course, all the stuff that's going on surrounding the team. And then you have all the, the losing on top of it. And now you're in a situation, Stacey, where, you change the team name for the, it's 3 different team names in 3 different years. And it's just, and now you have a new team name now, and you have the Baltimore Ravens right down the street, which many people have gone over to because they actually see what they know what they're doing over there.
That's a great organization.
Absolutely. And a great scouting organization. And so you have that team over there. And you really needed to do something. I mean, this is not just a rebrand like they like to talk about on social media, where you can just change the name and change the colors and change the jerseys, and people are just going to, okay. It doesn't work that way. The Washington team will not recoup its fan base or grow a fan base until they can do one thing: WIN, win.
Yeah, it's the same everywhere.
It's definitely true in Washington. They've completely destroyed the trust of the fan base out there with what's happened. They have to win. Marketing is not going to get this one done. Okay, Carson
Wentz doesn't even give you that big a chance to win. And I don't think he's terrible. But then you got this whole RG3 book that's hanging over, that's dropping bombs.
Actually, they scrapped it.
Yeah, well. Kind of. There's talk that they quasi scrapped it. So I just saw this yesterday, and again, allegedly. But he's going to drop bombs, and then you've got what's obvious. The NFL's hiding just closets full of skeletons in reference to Dan Snyder and what's going on over there. But let me ask you this: if I reeled off these statistics to you, we're going to play devil's advocate here. You've got if you could go out and get a quarterback that completed 62% of his passes, threw for almost 3,600 yards, had 27 TDs to only 7 interceptions, and a 94.6 QBR. Would you be happy in Washington?
It depends who it is.
That's Carson Wentz.
Right.
Those are his numbers.
I wouldn't be because here's the situation, okay? This comes down to the ability to lead a team to a Super Bowl championship. And I think a lot of teams lose sight of that. And that's not probably going to happen with Carson Wentz as a quarterback there. I don't know what is going to happen with McLaurin either, with this whole development now. I mean, the best chance Washington had of recovering the fan base and brewing up some excitement was doing one of two things: either getting a Deshaun Watson in there, that would have drummed it up, that would have gotten people excited, or traded for someone, traded up to get a Malik Willis in the draft. Those are the two things that would have drummed up the excitement from a marketing standpoint. The Carson Wentz thing is just blah. It's just I don't understand it at all. It's just not. I can tell you what, if I'm the general manager of Washington, I would have picked Carson Wentz off of waivers, let alone traded for him. So I just don't see it. I don't understand it. Heineke was a quarterback there. He was the guy that put his heart and soul into that thing. Build around him. Go trade for a DK Metcalf. Do something. Put pieces around him. Bring in a real tight end. Draft a guy like a Trey McBride from Colorado State. Give Heineke different pieces of the puzzle to throw to in that, and you would have had a situation and work on that defense. It's just I don't get.
They'll go defense. Yeah. So on that note, before we move off the Washington Commanders, final question, thought there. Do they still? There's a lot of mock drafts that have them, and I don't want to send you down this road based on time, but to have them picking Kenny Pickett.
Oh,
I think that mock draft has completely been flipped on its ear as of a few hours ago with Wentz. You got to believe at this point, right, that Rivera's now looking at defense. He's got his quarterback, which is kind of crazy. At this point, you got to go DB, don't you? I mean, they got hammered in the passing game last year.
Yeah,
and they got 4 number 1 draft picks on the defensive line. You can't go there again.
Yeah, it's a very deep draft for corners.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones. Unfortunately, I think Ahmad Gardner's we long gone by 11, and I mean he reminds me somewhat of Champ Bailey.
6.
He's going to go quickly. My number 2 corner probably will be there. With Kyler Gordon would be sitting there at 11. I think if Washington doesn't take Kyler Gordon, I have him mocked in my Jets SI top 20 mock I released last week, and I have him going to Baltimore at 14.
Corner.
Yeah, absolutely. With the problems they have there. So, and then the Eagles are pick up a corner too, which I have KR Ilam from Florida going out there to Philadelphia. He's their type of guy. He's a menacing corner, imposing corner. So yeah, it's very possible. Kenny Pickett. Let me tell you something about Kenny Pickett. Okay, SI Lions. I wrote about this 3-4 months ago. You can type in Daniel Kelly, Kenny Pickett, and go see what my thoughts are on this. I compared to the guy that Rusty Hilger, if you remember that quarterback back in the day for the Raiders. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I put a 5th round grade on Pickett. He's a quirky, very uncomfortable in the pocket quarterback. He's got very small hands. He wears gloves. His hands are so small. His downfield ball placements, just not what you need it to be. And he's just so uncomfortable and jumpy in the pocket. It's just, if you thought I hated Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance in last year's draft, you can take that times 10 with Kenny Pickett. I think it's absolutely. I don't think anybody knows anything about football. Anybody. I said last year that whoever drafted Trey Lance should be fired on the spot. Even anybody who was considering Trey Lance should be fired on the spot as a front office executive. I mean, I don't know what PR firm or what who's drinking what Kool-Aid around the NFL, but when I look at 40 years I've been following this game, and I look at the quarterbacks I've seen, just like you, Stacy, come through this game, I can't believe that anybody would ever consider, anyone ever would consider that. I guess I can't see Kenny Pickett under any circumstances. It looks like we got a question here.
Yeah, that's ours. That's our question. We're popping it up there.
Yeah, I mean, it threw me for a loop. It was almost like
this Twitch thing's a whole nother world, man.
It was like all of a sudden I felt like the coach was setting an audible through the headset on the quarterback helmet. I was like, wait a second here, this is different.
We got to get. We're going to encourage people as they watch us here on Twitch and some of these live streams to give us some questions. But yeah, that's a valid question. The Kenny Pickett thing. I mean, we're still going to tease the fact that we're going to do might be as early as next week, do a quarterback, like top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. I'm on record as stating over the last few weeks I wouldn't touch a quarterback in this class in the first round. You have differing opinions all the way up to number 2. but we're not going to go there this week, but we're going to tease it for possibly next week here. So join us for that. So sticking with this, we're looking at all three of these blockbusters, and I get the sense from the scout that all three of them are kind of like, not very happy about it. So here we go, rapid fire with a few minutes left here. Jimmy Garoppolo, you're high on him. You've already talked about him in this episode. Is he on his way to playing for Frank Reich and the Colts? That's what my gut's saying. If San Francisco even lets him go, are they about to pull another Green Bay where Green Bay drafts a young quarterback and has him just sit there and rot behind Aaron Rodgers? Are we about to see the same thing in San Francisco?
Well, first of all, okay, Trey Lance is no Jordan Love. Okay, so it's right. So it's a little bit different. A little bit different. So you got me. You came at me off the edge about Seattle's draft over the last 5 years when I made reference to the GM there. But no, I got to come back with that. But I don't think that San Francisco can afford to let go of Jimmy G when it all comes down to it. I think that it would be a very, very bad decision. Trey Lance hasn't been ready to lead that team since before he was drafted. He's a subdivision quarterback with very limited playing time in the past, both in high school and in college. And in the preseason, if you go back, just watch the 49ers in the preseason. The guy was a train wreck in the preseason. When he was under center, it takes more than some cute little trade package or some cutesy little option type of, nonsense. It takes a lot more than that to lead an NFL team. And so I believe that there we go. It's another question. Trey Lance or Jimmy G. What say you 49ers fans? Jimmy G is the guy. I know a lot of people love Trey Lance. Again, I can't figure out why. To me, he's a poor man's Donovan McNabb. He's an option type of quarterback that just, he struggles to throw the ball downfield. I mean, everybody says, hey, did you see that? Like when I talked about, that tweet I sent out with the 600,000 people that saw it, people are like, did you see that touchdown throw against Houston that he made? I'm thinking, are you talking about the one where the receiver actually had to wait on the pass down by the 10-yard line and actually sit there and wait on it and like he was catching the mail or something? It's come on. I
got to tell you that the scouts going deep on North Dakota State quarterbacks tonight.
And don't get me started on Christian Watson, the receiver. Don't get me started on that, Mister. I have.
We don't have enough time, man.
Supposedly, I have 4.28 speed, like I'm Tyreek Hill or something. Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started because no. Don't get me started on that. I put a much lower grade on him than anybody would care to hear tonight. So. Fourth to seventh round. But yeah, Jimmy G's the guy in San Francisco until stated otherwise. I mean, if he were to go anywhere because it's a relationship league that thrives on familiarity and we can't do business with anybody we're not familiar with for the most part, it would have to be, I think, McDaniel down in Miami. Perhaps we talked about in our last show, coming over as a former offensive coordinator of the 49ers.
Okay. All right. It's been all things quarterback tonight. I mean, we could go on and on. We still, over the last couple of weeks, ever since the Super Bowl ended, we've teased it. We're going to tease it. We're going to do some live draft stuff here on Twitch and YouTube with the Dirty Pocket, with the Scout. That takes a little bit more time and prep than we have this week, and supported and fueled by RC Cola.
Yes. Making a comeback.
Next week, you're going to have Tab on the show.
Much like Tom Brady may be making a comeback.
Oh, come on. You'll be hoisting a Tab Cola next week or a Fanta or something.
You never know. I may just go looking for this stuff just to get a chuckle out of you.
My God.
I could come up with a Jolt. Who knows what I might come up with.
Oh, my God. Jolt Cola. God, that's
maybe Trish and Treat. You remember that?
You got me there. Okay.
Well, hey, I'm full of surprises.
This has been a thoroughly insightful episode of the Dirty Pocket, and I will tell you that it's been a lot of fun to do this live and to just get kind of used to this world. So hopefully for those listening either on the podcast, YouTube, that didn't join us live, subscribe, join us on Twitch. Our tentative plans to be firmed up is for Wednesday evenings, midweek football talk for those who like their football uncensored with myself and the scout. We're teasing some things that we're going to do with the draft. We've been doing that for weeks, and it is forthcoming. But Mr. Kelly, the scout, before we sign off here on our very first episode of Twitch, before we are gigantic and on many red carpets, any parting shots for us as we look forward to football between now and when we see each other again?
Absolutely. I'm coming up. I mean, you serve this stuff up to me. I mean, you put the ball on the tee for me. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, Jordan Davis. Okay, everybody raved about.
Are you just dropping in a scouting report here at the end?
Really quickly, I put a 5th round grade on him as an underachiever, a limited area run defender who basically only plays and rushes the passer when he feels like it once in a blue moon, maybe a second coming of Albert Haynesworth. His teammate, I did an article for tomorrow, if you want to check it out, SI Lions, Devontae Wyatt, okay? He is 100 times the player. And Devontae Wyatt is a legitimate pass rusher, a legitimate guy, first-round guy. So that's my parting shot. Everybody says it's Jordan Davis and all this nonsense. No, sorry. It's Devontae Wyatt. He's the real defensive lineman, interior lineman coming out of Georgia in the 2022 NFL draft.
Okay, and as is tradition, we each get a parting shot. My parting shot is stay tuned, folks, because Bobby Wagner, your phone's about to blow up. On line 1 is world champion general manager Les Snead. We'd like to see number 54 roaming the middle of the field on defense in Los Angeles next year. So my parting shot is Bobby Wagner, a Ram. Stay tuned. Okay, so there you have it, folks. That's our episode of the Dirty Pocket this week. It has been fun to explore this Twitch thing. We're going to do this more every week. Follow the scout on Sports Illustrated. He is a writer for the Jets and the Lions, and you can find him almost anywhere. Just Google him and enjoy how many hits his tweets get every week. He's got some hot takes. You can find me not only here at the Dirty Pocket, but I'm also the host of Gridiron Icon, where we just had an awesome interview with Lofa Tatupu, the iconic Seahawk linebacker and USC Trojan. As for me and the scout, we will see you next week. Signing off.
Enjoy the RC Cola.
Thank you to our quasi-sponsor, RC Cola. We'll see you next week.
Since 1905.